This video brought to you by our Patreons. Please consider supporting this channel and joining our Patreons at patreon.com/NovaWing24.
Hi there folks, my name's NovaWing24 and welcome to another little review of a Microsoft Flight Simulator product. And today we are having a look at the Skypark from developer Parallel 42. This is an interesting little app that, to be honest, I actually, if you'd asked me a month ago about this, I would have said this is vapourware, because we've been hearing about the Skypark for a couple of years now, and honestly, I never thought I'd actually see it. So I was super excited to see that it finally got released, and not only that, I'm excited to bring you my first impressions and review of it today. I'm excited, let's jump into it, but we are going to start in by jumping in at the beginning when you first install the app, because the experience of this app starts when you first install it. And as we cut across to that, I do want to say, first of all, a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the team at Parallel 42 and at Orbic Studios for providing me with a review copy to bring to you guys today. I'm excited to bring this to you. Let's take a look. All right. Once you've picked up Skypark and you've downloaded it via the Orbix central installer, this is actually part of the install process that it goes through. So it actually does a little splash screen to get started. So let's get started. Now it goes through to install directory of where you want to install it. Now up to you where you want to go. I would recommend putting your own custom directory, but make sure it is not the root directory. So for me, for example, I'm putting mine in the same sort of, it's the same area that my sim is, but it's in its own separate folder. So in the Skypark folder. Right, so let's go through there. Sets up a few stuff for us. Install some additional programs, because it is more than just one app. There's a series of small little additional programs that actually allows things to contact stuff to actually work. Now, this is a really interesting splash screen that comes up here. Is that the fact that it talks about making see a series depicting illicit activities. Do you want to be presented with this content? That's really interesting. And as a parental guide, now some of us may just laugh at this, but actually, the fact that's actually even thought of shows a few things, because in some instances there might be dubious legalities about whether or not you can simulate this kind of stuff, or also as a parental guidance thing, you may want to steer impressionable minds away from illegal activities. And at the end of the day, our hobby is a very wholesome one, so we can take it how we want to. And again, it's a great way to allow us to take more control about how we sim. So I think this is a pretty cool idea. I'm going to pick yes though. So we're going to go through, so you can have some different character volumes and sound effects volumes for the different parts of here, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, probably the biggest problem with this is that he doesn't actually... There we go.
Today is going to be a big day for you. Good luck out there.
Instantly, this is a win for me right here. So let's try this, the sound effects volume. Okay, we'll drop the sound effects down a bit. So there's a click and hold for be able to get stuff. So click and hold for sound effects, click for character volume.
Today is going to be a big day for you. Good luck out there.
That's so cool. All right, loving that. So I like these little extra stuff that comes through here. And there we go. Now we can unbox our new device. I kind of like the quasi Apple Android look of that. Kind of cool. So you get a little bit of a firewall alert. We go through and select that. And then here we are in the Skypark tablet kind of thing. This is kind of cool. So we can choose a light or a dark theme. Nice. I like. Wow, this is so immersive. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no for now. I may change my opinion later on, but you can change it very quickly just by hitting up there. Oh, hello.
Welcome to Clear Sky. I'm Bridget. You'll occasionally hear from me while you're zooming around the Skypark, but today I'm excited to teach you how to use your new SkyPad. I'll need a few minutes of your time, then you'll be ready for your first flight. We'll start with contracts. Contracts is where you browse for available things to do, such as cargo runs, new experiences, tours, ferry flights, and more. Are you looking to use a specific aircraft or fly a certain distance? Click on Filters at the top and explore the many options available to find your perfect flight. You can also roll the dice there for a random contract if you can't make up your mind. Once you select a contract, you'll need a place to manage it. For this, we use an app called Conduit. It's a great contract management app that displays details for the contracts you've requested. When you have a contract active, Conduit will show you detailed checklists showing what you need to get done. You can also see a history of contracts you've completed successfully and even those you failed. Next up, we have YoFlight. Think of it like an electronic flight bag. I know some of you have advanced tools or trackers you may use, which is perfectly okay, but we wanted to provide you with some essentials right here on your Skypad while you're in flight. In YoFlight, you can plan and track your flight and even manage contract checklist items such as loading and unloading cargo. Using YoFlight is super easy. Poke around, you can't break it. Now let's move on to some of the personal apps you've got installed. All pilots on the Skypark get free banking with Stranded Holdings. Financials can be viewed in the pre-installed Holdings app. This info includes your current bank balance and details on deposits and expenses. Over time, you'll have additional operational costs, so you may want to keep a close eye on those finances. Progress is where we track your performance on the Skypark. If you ever feel the need to check in on how you're doing, this is where. At a glance, you can check your current bank balance, XP, and karma. Let's go over each of those real quick and how they affect what you see. The first thing here is your current bank balance. They say money doesn't buy happiness, but I would much rather cry on a biz jet. You'll need money to make money, so keep an eye on that balance. And remember, you can always visit the Holdings app for more details. XP is a measure of your experience as a pilot. XP always moves up as there is something new to learn in every adventure. You'll want to earn XP as quickly as you can so you can level up and get more exciting contracts. Now, karma is always shifting. It moves in the direction of either good or bad, depending on the types of contracts you accept. I heard of a new company called Coyote on the platform. They like to try to steal our best pilots for shady contracts. Your karma has a direct impact on what company contracts are available to you. Not seeing enough of the company you're looking for? How's your karma? There's also a reliability score for each pilot. Now, this is kept confidential, but if you really want to know what yours is, you'll need to take me to lunch first. Fly into KMKC in Kansas City, and I'll set it visible for a few hours. Next is the Settings app. Look, if I need to explain this to you, just turn in your pilot's license. Okay, I think we're all set here. Let's start your first flight. Click on Contracts, pick an available contract, and head over to the starting airport. Your flight trainer will meet you there. I've got another onboarding session in 5 minutes. Bye!
That has to be the greatest introduction to a game I have ever come across. Parallel 42, I cannot say how awesome that is. But just that, it was so cool. That was so awesome. I would much rather cry on a biz jet as well. That is an incredible way to start and a great way to actually involve you in the story. I am so immersed in that already. This is awesome. It's made it fun, it's made it engaging, and it's made it accessible. As I said, that is so cool. It's such a great way to be able to introduce it. It's just epic. It really is. Okay, so let's do as suggested. Let's jump into contracts and let's have a look. Okay, so apparently we have an introductory flight in Mexico. Oh, we actually got a few ones that we could look at. That's interesting. Now, should be interesting. I don't think there's one in. Is there one in Australia? No, okay, so there's a few different. The initial ones look like they're scattered at various different places around the world, but none in Australia. Okay, all right, Parallel 42. I'm a little sad. I really would like to have seen one in Australia. I really would have done. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's zoom out. Let's have a look. Where should we do one? Let's do something different. Should we do something different, or should we do one? You know what? Let's do the South Africa one because that's a little different. So let's jump over into this job here. So Yeah, okay. Can we just... Okay. Nope. Apparently we're doing it this way. Okay, that probably would have been a nice way to be able to go if we simply could have selected one job or the other instead of jumping around. Okay, so that's the one we want to do. So that's a bit... Okay, I think it would have been nice if we could have just clicked on it and it could have just gone straight there. So let's do that one. So let's do 34. So we got some XP to do, and okay. So this is the part that I'm interested in, is this sharing code. So if you want to fly anything in Skypark with fellow virtual aviators, you can do so by giving them this code. They can search in their filters for that code, and they can fly it with you. That's a really cool thing to do. So let's go request this flight. Well, actually, let's check the info tab first. So introductory training flights. So we get a little bit of the positive karma, and different types of aircraft. Okay, that's interesting. Different types of aircraft. Interesting that they've already got helicopters in there. That's interesting there. Training flight by clear sludges. Okay, this is kind of cool. This is kind of interesting. Okay, so this is your full EFB. So you've got to... Okay, so you basically have to get everything there along the way. All right, so let's request this one. Okay, so request this contract. So contracts are living documents on the Skypark. When you see one you like, request it. Clicking this doesn't guarantee you'll get it. That's interesting. You may have been beaten to it. This is really... Okay, that's interesting. I didn't realize there was an MMO element to this. This is kind of cool. Okay, so let's go okay. Let's see if we can get it.
Oh, hey. I'll be with you in a sec. Just finishing up some paperwork on a new pilot. In the meantime, load into our departure airport and let me know when you're on the ground and ready to start.
That's kind of cool. I really like the fact that they've got this. This is so engaging. This is like really engaging. Okay, this is cool. Okay, so let's launch the sim and get ourselves prepped. Alrighty, so we are currently loading in at our starting airport of Foxtrot Alpha Hotel Oscar here. Now, interesting, as I was loading in, I realized that you can actually click on the aircraft here, and it actually tells you whether they're recommended or not, or feasible or not recommended. So that's interesting. And then, while just loading in here, we've got our little tips there, so we can see here, and it's automatically recognized that we are here. We're actually at the airport. Okay, we've got so ready to go. So when we're ready to go, once we're loaded in, we can... Oh, next up, ready to go, pick up Skypads. This is... Okay, the interaction level on this is just mind-blowingly awesome right now. I'm really impressed already. Okay, let's go ready to fly. I'm going to quickly make sure that all this guff's turned off, which it is. Okay, good. Okay, so let's look on our Skypad, and let's go start training flight.
Hello. Welcome to the Skypark. My name is Jeff, but my friends call me the Maestro. Bridget asked that I show you the ropes, so here we are. She introduced you to the Skypad, but I'll walk you through the flow of using it to make some money. We use the Skypad to find, plan, and track all of our flights, so don't lose it. Since you've already requested this flight, you may be in the Conduit app. If you're not, click Conduit from the home screen. Conduit displays additional information and a checklist for each contract. The top will always show the current to-do item, but don't touch that yet. Let's keep scrolling down. That bit of art there above the plane icons, that's the elevation profile for this flight. I like to think of it as an indicator of how scenic a flight will be. The plane icons let you know what aircraft type is recommended based on many variables in the contract. It's smart. Maybe smarter than us. Follow those recommendations unless you like a good challenge. Remember, on the Skypark you can fly whatever you own as long as you get the job done. Next, you see some information on distance, highest obstacle, and the most critical bit of info, expiration date. You've got to be a reliable pilot to get better pay and additional perks in the future. They track that stuff. Your reliability score is hidden from you on the Progress app. But here's a tip for a new friend. Anytime you want to know your current score, take Bridget to lunch by flying to KMKC Downtown Airport in Kansas City, and she'll make it visible for a bit. She looks out for her pilots. It's good to have a friend on the inside. Below that section is your checklist. You'll find details on each airstrip and to-do items along the way. These automatically check off as they're completed. The last bit of info shows who you're working for, details on how this flight will affect your career, and last but not least, your pay. A loadmaster will handle things in the back. You'll have one with you on every flight, but they're not always talkative. Keep on their good side, as they can be cranky in the mornings. Remember that not all contracts are cargo. Some are for karma, some for XP, and others just for cash. Time to go. Scroll up to the top and click load.
So, I'm loving this interactive. This is so cool. Okay, load.
Now let's plan this flight. Click on the Plan Flight button to enter the YoFlight app. YoFlight will track you on a moving map. You can even zoom in to see airport details. In the top right, you'll find some view selectors, 2D, 3D, north up, and track aircraft. Below those are some options to manipulate elevation data. The Skypad will program a direct flight for each contract. If you want to fly a custom route, you can always click the Load PLN button and use a custom flight plan. Fancy, huh? We're going to take a direct route today, so hit the fly button. Okay, taxi to the runway and take to the skies. The moving map will track our movements. You have control. Wake me up when we're halfway there for a quick check-in. Wake me up before you go.
Oh my god, this is so cool. Okay, all right, let me reduce the size of that. That is seriously, that's so cool. All right, let's start the aircraft up and let's see how we go. Let's see if I remember how to start a cub. It's been a hot minute since I've flown the cub here. Okay, so let's have a look here. So it's put some baggage in, which is kind of cool. I'm going to we'll put a bit of extra fuel in. Let's just do that. We'll pay extra for a bit of fuel. Okay. Now it's time for me to start this aircraft up here. Now I've got to remember how this works. Okay, so throttle there. Okay. If I remember correctly. Yeah, parking brake is down there. Okay, so I just need to remember where it was. Okay. So mixture full rich. Throttle is cracked. And we need to go to, where is my battery master? Okay, battery master is on. Fuel pump on. Magnetos 1 and 2 are on. Okay. Strobe light is, beacon is on. Engine catch, there we go, we're good. Alternator is on. Alright, avionics master is on, nav, landing lights are on, everything is good. Okay, we are good. Now let's check our weather here. Alright, so now we've got that map doesn't give now we've got weather here. Let's have a look. Good to go. Okay. Brakes off. Always a bit of a challenge with turning some tail draggers. Alright, so we'll taxi out towards the runway here. One of the common things, actually, funny enough, about when flying tail draggers is that when they taxi, they'll often be seen doing this sort of snake pattern as they taxi. It's actually to allow you to actually see ahead of where you're flying, because one of the challenges you have is that you actually sort of can't see over the engine cowling. So you actually sort of do this sort of snake weave as you're taxiing to allow you to actually see ahead. So you look sort of past the side of the aircraft. Alright, looks like we've got a winch behind us, so that's fine. So we will turn around shortly. Now, this should be plenty of room for us to take off in a little stall like the Cub here. Okay, so let me just turn that tag off. Alright, and we are ready for our first flight in training parks, so in the Skypark. So throttle up, and let's go. This is one of the things I love about the STOL aircraft, is that you could just really throw them around, and even with a no flap takeoff like that, still managed to roll with like less than 40 knots, and I was still able to get airborne. I love these airplanes. Alright, let's turn on course. Quite the crosswind on that takeoff. Very much a challenge there. Now I have to see how automatic our instructor takes off. Now, I'm just looking at the Skypark, the EFB there, and I love that sort of content there. The fact that you sort of got the 2D and you got 3D, so it's actually pulling. It looks like it's actually pulling a lot of that OpenStreet, that data. It's either from the sim, or it's using this, trying to use the same source data the sim is, because I'm actually seeing the same roadways there outside the aircraft that I'm seeing in the Skypark EFB. That is super impressive, because especially as a visual, if you're flying sort of visual flight rules rather than IFR, nav and waypoints and stuff like that, that's going to be super important for, maybe I'm thinking, for some of the shadier missions where we may have to sort of look for things a little bit more that are a little bit might be off the beaten path kind of thing. It's going to be kind of cool. So that's really, really impressive. So it's got a direct flight, and if, of course, if we load a PLM file, that would have been reflected in there as well. That is so cool. All right. Now that we've got our Cub on autopilot, which I always keep forgetting that there is an AP in this Cub, which is always kind of cool. Okay, so now that we've got that done, let's have a bit of a more look at our app here. So let's make this one a little bit bigger for us here and have a look here. Okay, so we're in our introductory training flight here, and we're in our 3D view at the moment. So we can see that we've got a destination there. We've got our nice magenta pink line, and we can switch just to a 2D view there, so just a straight overhead view, or we can go stick with the 3D view. I really like that 3D view. That's actually really impressive. I think it's kind of cool. I can see there's powered by Mapbox. So there you go. So that's where obviously all the so that's got all the OSM data in there. So hence, which is being shared. That's good. Now we've got north up, so we can say that we're going to set it, so for example, that's the top down view, the 2D view. You can set it to north up. Or we can also have it so it tracks the aircraft, or the aircraft will sort of just go along, or we can turn it around. You can sort of click with the right mouse button to rotate around, so you can view it around, or we lock it onto the aircraft again there as well. So that's kind of cool. Probably, I'm guessing that would be more important as we've got mountainous regions, because it's fairly flat, the terrain flying over here. But that's it's a really clean and intuitive setup, I think, is probably the most important part here. And we've got the elevation, oh, here we go. So we've got the elevation profile down the bottom there, and it's sort of going as well, sort of showing, so you can expand out there, so we can say, yep, this is where we're flying at, this is what we're flying over, the undulating terrain, as you're going across the path here. That's really impressive, and we've got an estimated time of arrival, and, like, this is simple, but just so clean and works really well. I'm super impressed. Like, it just works. And the fact that you got interaction with the characters so far, I'm really excited to see what other characters are here in this game. Like, this is in its add-on. This is already, like, yeah, meeting Bridget and meeting like our surfer bum dude here is just really cool. This is... I am super impressed by this so far.
Oh, hi. Everything looks good, and the load is still on the plane. I hope you got to poke around YoFlight a bit more. Lots of data is available to you while you're in flight, and it's always getting updated with cool new features. Okay, another little power nap. Wake me up when we are on the ground. Yes, this means you better butter that landing.
I just love how he just pops in, says like, oh yeah, glad you were checking stuff out. Okay, good night. That was really, really cool. Okay, but you know what we should do? We should take this opportunity to have a bit of a poke around the rest of the Skypark while we're buzzing along here. So we can go sort of, again, just like an actual sort of iPad, you can sort of zip around with other ones here. So we've had a look at contracts, we've had a look at conduit, and we've had a look at YoFlight. So our holdings are our money here. I also love the fact that you initially get $42 because it's developer parallel 42. That's cool. Like, that's really, really hilarious. I think that's pretty damn hilarious and funny that one is. Progress, again, that one's probably just, again, nothing really out of the ordinary from what we saw there before. Settings is an interesting one because it goes through with the changelog of all the updates, because as I said, this is still technically in early access at the moment, so there will be a price rise coming once it has been launched into full release version as well. In terms of display, you can change whether you want to have a light or a dark theme, or whether you want it to be always on top of your screen. For me, I have it on a second monitor, so it's not a huge issue for me, this one, so I don't have that pinned on. And config wise, otherwise you can rewatch the tutorial, or you can reconfigure the Skypad to reset everything back to defaults as well. So there you go, pretty basic stuff. And then feedback button here is where you can actually provide feedback back or any experiences you've had, because again, as I said, this is a early access product at the moment, so that's pretty cool. That's it. So let's leave it on our EFB at the moment as we head towards our final stop, and we'll see how we go with our first contract. Alright, one of the most challenging things about tail draggers is landing them, because you're trying to do very much a lot more difficult landing than you get to do with tricycle undercarriage aircraft. Because you don't want to come down to the tail wheel. You need to flare, but you need to not come down to the tail wheel.
Well, well, well. It looks like you got us to the right place in one piece. Not bad. I think more Skypark adventures are on the horizon for you. Taxi to a parking spot, shut down.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I like the fact that he sort of chimes in, you know. I just imagine this sort of like, you know, surfy dude kind of like, hotshot pilots that sort of, you know, basically feigning being asleep here and making wise cracks once we've on the ground there. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's taxi to a parking and shut ourselves down, and then we'll head over into Skypark and we'll see how we go after having finished our first mission. Okay, and we are good to shut down. Alright. Parking brake is on. Fuel mixture cut off. Prop back.
Okay.
That's clear.
You can unload the aircraft right here in YoFlight. or you can also handle that in Conduit. For simplicity, let's do it here. Time is money. To complete the contract, click on the green Deliver button at the bottom of the screen.
Okay, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so let's jump over into our Skypark. So we go to Deliver. Okay, so let me expand that for you guys. And we go click on Deliver.
You're all set. The funds have now been transferred to my bank account. I'm only kidding. It's all yours today, but you should verify that in the Holdings app when we're done here. You know, just in case. I hope you enjoyed your first flight on the Skypark, and best of luck on your future adventures. One last tip. The Coyote folks aren't as friendly as we are at Clear Sky, so choose your work wisely.
That's kind of interesting. They're really sort of setting up this Coyote as like these bad guys, and it kind of makes me want to do a career path that goes that way. Okay, so, and then you get a summary at the end here, automatically pops up. So there's a lot more interaction sort of going on here between the sim and the app. And that's what's really telling for me, is there's a lot of it's being driven here together, which I feel is, I don't know, it just seems clean, and it's really, really cool. All right, so we can go, okay, so we've got our big green check that we completed there. We earned our $25 for this one. We got our XP up for that one as well, and our slight karma change as well. So, and then from there we can hit close, or we can browse further contracts. So let's close that one there, and let's close our flight plan. So yeah, so it's very much, it really is driven all by this app. So again, we'll go into our holdings one, and we can see sort of like a rolling ledger of where we start, introduction missions, and where we're getting our money from, which is kind of cool. And then of course we can go back into, so we've done that one, so we've got no contract request at the moment, and then we can go back to contracts to have a look at a new one. Okay, so that was going to be my next curiosity question, was going to be, can you just sort of roll with another one? And it looks like it is, again, all based on what's nearby. Okay, so let's see. Can we go? Let's have a look. What can you get here? Let's have a look for something for... I'm just curious here. Okay, so let's go. Okay, a couple of things. Okay, so that's what we get. So default, it sort of picks where you are and shows you some different apps there. But it also shows you contracts that in other airports you would have to fly to first. Now let's have a look. Okay, so you go search FASN, and then it shows you everything, whether it's starting or ending from there. Okay, so you can't click on, okay, I do apologize. I take back what I said earlier. You can click on it. You just click on the middle thing and not on one of the ends. Right, that makes sense. So yeah, you can do those. That's cool. Okay, so that's a nice clean way to be able to do it from there, which is cool. Then you can clear and see everything there. That's awesome. All right, now the next thing I want to try is search this region. Okay, so let's just go over to my homeland of Australia, and let's go search this region. And there you go. So you don't have to pick up where you left off. You can just simply grab a flight from another area and off you go. So we could pick this flight here. And it tells you, okay, so we're transporting teak wood panels from Walladaiba to Fairview Airport. Okay, cool. 132 nautical miles, 6 miles in a day. Let's have a look at the info here. Does it say anything about how much cargo? Okay, so it doesn't seem to say how much cargo you have. It gives you the payout, but it doesn't necessarily tell you how much stuff you have in there. So that's probably... So that may be sort of whether you have enough cargo space or sort of, airframe space to be able to have enough space on board to put it there. Or maybe it varies how much you take on board based on the type of aircraft you choose. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting to find out. So, all right, so you know what? Let's test it. Let's do another flight. So let's go back to here where we are in South Africa. So let's go search this region. Let's see if we can find a nice short trip, shall we? All right, and let's see if we can do one more tonight. So let's do, what have we got here? What's this one here? So we got, oh, and straight away, we've got okay. So that's interesting. So we've got this one here. So straight away we can see that this is from the less reputable Coyote services. Our karma goes down by 1.1 on this one. So piston engine aircraft is recommended. You got 48 nautical miles to go. You got to get banned pharmaceuticals from Verede in South Africa to Harrismith. Ooh, dun 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 dun. All right, you know what? Let's give it a try. But let's try a couple of things here. So let's bring in our sim. Let's go back to our main menu here. So let's bring that one back to the menu. And then in Skypark here, let's request this contract and see what happens. Okay, so we've requested that contract. Now it hasn't. Now it looks like we've got it. We've got manage there. So there we go. So we can. Yep. Okay. So we can do plan flight. So we'll just do direct. Okay. So let's have a look over here. So let's do that quickly, and then we'll rejoin this once we're in the aircraft. Now this is going to be an interesting test for this because this particular airport doesn't have any parking. It simply has the runway starts. So I'll be curious to see how the Skypark handles that. So we're lined up here on the runway, ready to go. Now it's already detected that we are at Verede, so it's correct. So I'm going to click ready to fly. Alright, now let's click the load cargo. You hear the sounds of the cargo being loaded in. Alright, okay. So now we've got the cargo in here, so now we need to get on our way to Harrismith. Okay, so we've got a direct flight here. So, okay, so you can load your cargo. So for those of you who don't want to go through cold and dark starts, that's perfectly fine then, because it means then that you can still start at the airport start and still be able to do it. Alright, now let's quickly do pre-flight a couple of things here. Okay, so we'll use that once we're in the airborne. Alright, so otherwise we are good to go. Let me check the parking brake is... Parking brake is released. Alright, fuel is good. Takeoff flaps are set. Throttle up. Brakes off. Nice, smooth takeoff. So it was a lot better now that I've got something. Now, I'm curious. I didn't check it actually before we took off, so I'm going to check it off once we're in the air. I'm going to have a look at our weight and see if we actually did get some cargo dynamically loaded, because that would be kind of cool. Like I said, I saw the aircraft rock, so maybe we did, and it's good. This would be a good way to find out. Definitely feels that way. Okay, so let's start our turn, get ourselves onto course, and then we'll get our AP on. Of course, we're doing a bit of a clandestine mission, so we probably don't want to go too high into the sky for this one. Alright, so 6500 is our targeting that we're targeting for there. Let's go vertical speed, and let's go AP on. There we go. Alright, lean mixture out a little bit. Nice, full throttle. Nice cruise speed. There we go. And we are on course. Alright, cruise configuration set. Alright, so now let me have a look at this weight and balance. I'm curious because I want to know... Okay, so it just has the 80 pounds of cargo. Okay, so it doesn't actually... Alright, so that was just a figment of my imagination then. It didn't actually happen, it was just a figment of my imagination. So, it doesn't dynamically change the payload. So, that is something that I think... That's a nice to have, I think, or at least, you know, tell us what the cargo is that we're flying. But I suppose at the end of the day, it's also about the venture of flying somewhere. Because I never would have flown to the 4 airports that we're flying to in this review without this app. I never would have done. And the fact that I can jump around the world and pick up an aircraft to fly without having to buy anything or without having to sort of stage the flight first. That's a lot of freedom being paid there. Now, if you want, I'm sure absolutely you could role play this the way you want to, so you make sure you only do things a certain way, and maybe they'll add that in later on. But at the start, at least, we can jump around, we can do different aircraft, we can do different content. I think this is a really, really good way to do it. All right, so let's see if anything untoward happens. We are flying for the other team at the moment, and let's see how it goes for the rest of the flight. Alrighty, so here we are on our clandestine run as we're coming in here towards our final destination here, and again, this is the kind of cool part, is that I would never have thought to go to these airports here today. Now let's have a look here. Now I thought that was the strip down there. It looks like that is the dirt strip over there. So you know what? So we're gonna do. Yeah, we're gonna be like a bit like the smugglers that we are. We're going to pull back the throttles here. Bleed off the speed in the turn. Oh, a little fast on that one, on that landing there. Keeping our tail down to give us a bit of maneuvering ability there. Definitely going to be a high-speed exit. A little bit early off the ramp there. Though I don't think we have to worry about too much about any parking here. Alright, so there we go. We do it. So let's just quickly high-speed exit off the behind these shelter behind these buildings here. I think this is a suitably shady location for us to offload our cargo. Alright, so let's parking brake on. Alright, bring the aircraft to a stop. Go. Alright, so magnetos 1, 2 are off. Alright, lights are off. Avionics master is off. Fuel pump is off. Alternator is off. Master battery is off. Okay, we're good. Now, over on our tablets, let's go to and do deliver our pharmaceuticals. Job is done. Okay, that was nice. That little doo-doo-doo, that's the old FSX mission complete sound. That's cool. Oh, the nostalgia. Oh, the nostalgia. That's cool. Obviously, so the coyote jobs, they seem to pay better. But we took the karma hit, so there you go. Okay, so let's talk my impressions about this. So my impressions of Skypark. This thing is so much fun. It very much is about the experience of flying somewhere, exploring the world, and it literally it's in the name. The sky is your park. Like it is your playground. That's really cool. The way it's done is so simple and so elegant. Um, I've just realized that the Yo Flight angle of the aircraft is actually tied to your angle of the aircraft in the sim. That's so cool. That's epic. Anyway, the experience of this, I think, has to be the biggest thing that's selling it for me. Is that immersive onboarding, that initial mission. It looks like that the audio files might be limited to a couple of those. I mean, Neofly does the same thing as well. Don't get me wrong. And I think this is very Neofly and Skypark seem to be very much targeting the same sort of market, where it's sort of all about the just give you a reason to fly somewhere you've never flown before, and is very much gearing more towards smaller, lighter aircraft. Now, as we can see in both Neofly and of course in Skypark, is that there are options available for you to do the long ones. You can set your contract sort of filter options to actually sort of do your longer haul stuff. So you can search for only things that are sort of like your narrow body aircraft. Okay, and you sort of go search, and it'll give you those options for you as well. So if you want to do your long hauls, absolutely they are available for you to do. So that's really, really cool. So it does cater for everybody, but it is targeted primarily you for giving you flights. Whereas initially I thought this was going to be a competitor to Air Hauler 2, but I think actually not. I think they are very much geared towards different options. So Skypark is very much geared towards you wanting to fly, give you options and somewhere else to explore, somewhere different to go if you're not sure what you want to do, or where you want to fly to. When you've got a few hours, this is the go for this. Air Hauler 2 is more about the simulating of a company. Actually, there is some flying component to it, but it's also about running and building up a company where you start just you, and then you build into a sort of a logistics empire. And I think Skypark. So for me, I really see Skypark and Neofly being more sort of competitors to each other. But I've got to admit, the experience, the tailored experience of having your contract search, your actual sort of electronic flight bag, the actual options of seeing what your contracts are, the karma kind of idea as well. Like that's a really interesting idea as well. I think that's kind of cool. I'm curious to see what this is going to go though, because I feel like they did say that as you get higher in rank, there are costs. I'm curious what those costs are going to be, because I think that's a further development aspect that we haven't seen yet. So I'll be curious to see what direction they take it in. But for now, I've got to say, this is pretty damn cool. And the little quirk of having to go to a particular place and take one of the protagonists out for lunch is kind of cool. I think that's pretty awesome. I really do. I'm guessing at some point they're probably going to add in like a VSI rating and stuff like that. I think there'll be a few things coming there. As I said, this is still a work in progress, but my first impressions are this thing's awesome. Like this is just so cool. I two thumbs up for me. This is awesome. So yeah, I have to say, I think this is, and just on a side note, the one thing that I think's really big for this one is this feature here. So if you're wanting to fly together, but the challenge with programs like Neofly and Air Hauler 2 is that the contracts are unique to you. So if you want to do a group flight, for example, and you both have Air Hauler 2 companies, then you're not guaranteed that you're going to have the same contracts. Like it is random. Whereas for Skypark, because it is sort of cloud-based, if I want to fly with another virtual aviator, then I can say, hey, punch this code into your filter, and that is the route that will drop in for you, and we can fly it together. That is cool, and that is a huge thing for me that I think is awesome, because I think that's one of the things that it's always, for me, has always been a little bit missing from other apps that do this kind of concept. And I think this is a really cool way that they've done to get around that and actually promote the community that we are as a flight simulation community. So yeah, that feature alone, like that's a win for me. Well, folks, that does round it. So as I said, overall, I highly recommend this one. I think if you're into something that gives you a challenge and you just want to, it's all about flying for you, not about company building, then I think this is the app for you. As I said, give NeoFly a try. Don't get me wrong. But if you wanted to do group flights as well, or maybe do the Karma idea or see where it's going, or support the dev as they grow and see where the future holds with Skypark, I'm going to highly recommend it. I think this is fantastic. I love this app so much. I think it's awesome. Alright, so that does round out my review of my first impressions and my review of the Skypark from Parallel 42. I do want to say a huge thank you once again to the team at Parallel 42 and the team at Orbix for supplying me with the review copy of this one today. Guys, if you don't want to pick it up, head over to Orbix Direct to grab your copy today if you do want to support the dev and get into the Skypark to see what your future holds. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we will see you on the next review. Bye for now.